अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Brahma Sutra study is meant for those students who have already studied all the Upanishads. And those who have not studied all the Upanishads, for them studying Brahma Sutra is something like going directly in the MSc class after KG1 and thereafter condemn that professor. My miss in KG1 was better than the professor. Because she knew how to teach. And this fellow, what he was talking, was going all above head. In the first place, let us take a small review of what Brahma Sutras are. There are many places in different Upanishadic statements where we come across seeming contradictions. The words are overlapped. The same word is used to indicate Jivatma, Paramatma, Prana, Shakti, Prakriti. And therefore, many times a doubt comes in the mind whether what is to be reached, what is to be propitiated, Upasya Devata, is Parabrahma, Paramatma, or Jivatma, or Prakriti. Not knowing the method of studying, how do we study the scriptures with the help of proper reference to a particular word in a proper context, the meaning will be always wrong. And therefore, what Bhagavan Vedavyasa has done, he has composed these 555 sutras wherein various seeming contradictions are taken care of, and the purpose of the Vedas, Shruti Grantha, is only to establish Jivatmaikya Bodha. The Jivatma and the Paramatma is one and the same. They are not the two. This is the ultimate. For that we study the Brahma Sutras. So if there is some contradiction in our mind somewhere, it is taken care of. But if we have never studied, there will be no contradiction. So those who have not studied, they have saved themselves. So in the first chapter, like that there are 4 chapters, and each chapter is further divided into 4 pada sections. In this manner there are 4 into 4, 16 sections. And in these 16 sections we will take 1 section per lecture and try to finish, because that is the only time at our disposal. If you are able to catch, very good. If you are not able to catch Brahma Sutra, at least you will catch cold. Something you have to catch. And that is more than enough. So, in the first chapter and the first pada, we have seen various words such as Anandamaya, Akasha, Jyoti, Prana. These are the various words which were used to indicate the primordial cause of this world, the Parabrahma Paramatma Tattva. And thus, that Parabrahma is propitiated through various upasanas. And in this manner, while referring number of Upanishads, we referred also Chandogya Upanishad, where it was said that this Paramatma is Manomaya Prana Shariraha. So when this Paramatma is indicated to be Manomaya Prana Sharira, then the question comes that this is the description of the Jivatma. Because Jiva is the one who has got the Manomaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh. And therefore, what is the position of this description with reference to Paramatma? This second pada, second section begins. In this, also the first 8 sutras we have already seen in our last lecture, where this Paramatma was indicated as Satya Sankalpa, Akashatma, Sarvakarma, Anoho, Aniyan, Jayan. He is bigger than the biggest. And therefore, in the first 8 sutras, it is established that what is indicated through in this Chandogya Upanishad mantra is Paramatma and not the Jivatma. Because the first sutra in the second pada tells Sarvatra Prasiddha Upadeshat. Everywhere, Upadesha is regarding that Prasiddha Paramatma Tattva and not the Jivatma. And therefore, Vivakshita Guna Upapattescha. And when the various kinds of descriptions are given, they are possible to be applied only to Paramatma and not Jivatma. Which are those descriptions? Manomayaha, Prana Shariraha, Bharupaha, Satya Sankalpaha, Akashatma, Sarvakarma, Sarvakamaha, Sarvagandaha, Sarvarasaha, Sarvam Idam Abhyantaha, Avakyanadaraha. Now these are the various words which cannot be attributed to Jivatma. Therefore, this Manomayaha, Prana Shariraha is referring to Paramatma and not the Jivatma. And further, Anupavattestu na Shariraha. And if you take the discussion as it goes in the Chandogya in this particular topic, it cannot be deducted that it is referring to Shariraha, the Jivatma. Because nobody wants to do the Upasana of the Jivatma. Upasana is always done that of someone who is superior, more Shaktiman, powerful than us. And therefore, the Jivatma cannot be Upasya Devata, and therefore reference is to Parabrahma, Paramatma. Further in the 4th sutra, Karma Kartru Vyapadeshacha. And when the discussions are said, it is very clearly indicated that if you do the Upasana of this Parabrahma, Paramatma indicated in this mantra, that will take you after the death to the Paraloka. Therefore, it is the Jivatma who has the journey to go from Mrityulok to Paramatma Lok and not the Paramatma. Therefore, the seeker is the Jivatma and the sought is the Paramatma. So here the description is about Paramatma and not the Jivatma. Shabda Visheshat. And also, these different words are very clearly used to indicate the Jivatma and the Paramatma. For example, when it is said that this Atma is Brahman, and when you come to recognize that my Atma is Brahma, then alone you are liberated from the transmigration. Therefore, the instruction is given to the Jivatma about the Paramatma. Therefore, the Upadesha is about Paramatma to the Jivatma, and therefore it is not the Jivatma that is being spoken of. So also in the 6th sutra, Smrutescha. In Bhagavad Gita also we come across Mayeva mana adhasva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasisya mayeva ata urdhvam na samshayaha. Arjuna is told by the Lord that when you fix your mind and intellect into me, then you shall definitely come to me. So the Jivatma reaches the Paramatma Bhava. And also in the 8th chapter, Antakale Shamameva Smaran Muktva Kalevaram Yap Prayati Samadbhavam Yati Nastyatra Samshayaha. At the time of departure from this body, when we remember the Lord, we become merged with the Lord. And therefore, in the Smriti Grantha also, the Paramatma is the Upasya Devata and not the Jivatma. And many places, the description of Paramatma is given with reference to a place. About this, the 7th Sutra says, Arbhakaukastvad tadvyapadeshacha na iti chet na nichayatvad eva vyomavaccha. This sutra we have seen already, 7th Sutra, that when it is said, chet arbhakaukastvad, this Paramatma is indicated to be present in the Hridaya, in the heart, in that small little place. So tadvyapadeshat, because this Paramatma is indicated to be so small in the heart, it cannot be called as Paramatma. Therefore, we are talking about the Jivatma. If this is your objection, chet, no. This is wrong objection because nichayatvacha evam. Because the truth is to be discovered with reference to a particular place. Otherwise, we will be only imaginary flowing in the world. And what is the indicate? Vyomavaccha. That is, Paramatma is available like the space. Now here we pause. I have taken this topic. Again I am repeating. It's very important topic. See, one of the biggest obstacle, which I repeated 100 times, is objectification in the discovery of the truth. This objectification has to be given up. And therefore, the reality has to be discovered as the subjective experience. And for that subjectivity, the truth is indicated to be present in the heart. When it is said the truth is indicated to be present in the heart, it has to be very small. When it is said very small, we may imagine small means small in size. But that is not the meaning. What is meant is, it is beyond all the perceptions. Sukshmatva or Paratva, we have seen in our Kathopanishad, that which is not comprehended by Jnanendriyas, Karmendriya, Manabuddhi, Ahankara, that is called as the Sukshma. And therefore, the truth is to be recognized subjective and beyond the scope of comprehension by the various instruments of knowledge. And therefore, it is indicated as present in the heart. That doesn't mean the truth or the Atma is very small. Therefore, other word is Vyomavat, and also like the space. Now, with reference to space, these are the 3 stages. If these 3 stages we are able to understand, it will make a lot of difference. First, the truth is perceived by us in the gross space called as Bhutakash. Perception of the truth in the Bhutakash or as the Bhutakash is the waking experience or the gross experience. Then the second stage is perception of the reality as the Chittakash is the subtle experience at the level of the thought. And in case of the Bhutakash gross, the reality is perceived as other than I and a solid gross reality. In case of Chittakash, the same reality is perceived by us as the thought, vritti rupena, because Chitta is nothing but the vritti pravaha. So there it is, the perception of the truth as the thought, it is called a Chittakash. And when we are able to transcend the Bhutakash, come to Chittakash, then transcend the Chittakash, and then come to the Chidakash. The Chidakash is mentioned here as Vyomavaccha. Now what is the Akasha? Akasha is that which is not influenced by all that is supported by the Akash. The space supports the all 4 Mahabhutas and they are not able to influence. Similarly, Chidakasha is that consciousness which is supporting everything but not influenced by anything. That is the meaning of Chidakash. And in this manner, the truth is indicated by these 2 words. One, it is very small, residing in the heart, like space. So by the smallness, subjectivity, and transcending the limitations of means of knowledge, and by the Akasha, it is beyond the influence of any contamination. This is how the subjective experience is awarded by the scriptures. Not knowing this, we get lost. That if the Atma is in the heart, it must be very small. Therefore, the Atma of the elephant must be bigger because he has got a bigger heart. And the Atma of the mosquito cannot be present because mosquito doesn't have heart. Mosquitoes never suffer from the heart failure. And therefore, they don't have Atma. This kind of imaginary understanding is because we don't understand the import of the statements. Now, the last sutra in this topic which we saw last time is Sambhoga Pritihi iti chedna vaisheshyat. So, Sambhoga Praptihi iti ched. If we say that the Paramatma is present in the heart of everyone and each one of us is full of miseries in our heart, then with one heart where we are present, how much miserable we are, and that poor Paramatma present in everybody's heart, how much more miserable he is, better. You told us we don't want realization because with one contact, with one heart, we are this much realized. If we become Paramatma, it is a state of Parama misery. So we do not want that. Therefore, Upanishad says here, Na Vaisheshyat. This is not true because the Upanishad very clearly tells that the Kartrutva Bhiman, Bhoktrutva Bhiman do not touch the Paramatma. Therefore, although supporting through the heart, and although the heart is the seat of Sukha Dukkha, they do not influence Paramatma Tattva. Up to here we have seen in our last class, if you remember. Now, hereafter another topic begins. That if you are telling this Paramatma is present in the heart of everyone, yet he doesn't suffer. But you are telling something wrong because we have come across Upanishadic statement where the Paramatma is said to be the experiencer, Bhokta or Atta. Like we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, a common statement, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surudam Sarva Bhutanam Jnatva Mam Shantim Ruchati. Where it comes? It comes in the 5th chapter, the last verse. So where Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa. I am the experiencer of the Yajna and the Tapasya. So, how this Paramatma is Bhokta? Now the meaning is given in this 9th sutra. Now hereafter, repeat the sutra after me. Atta charachara grahanat. Now this Paramatma is called Atta. Atta means the eater. This is how the word Anna is described in our Taittiriya Upanishad. Atti and Adyatecha Annam. That which is eaten and that which eats is called as Anna. So we take the chocolates or the sweet we eat. Then the sweetness eats our teeth. And in this manner, that which eats and that which is eaten is called as Anna. So here Atta refers to the eater. So Atta Charachara Grahanat. Why this Bhagavan is called as Atta or the eater? Because the reference is to Kathopanishad. In Kathopanishad we have seen in the second Valli, when we are going through, there it comes toward the end, I think 25th mantra. Yasya brahma cha kshatram cha ubhe bhavata odanaha mrityu asya upasechanam kaitha veda yatra saha. This Paramatma is the one. For him, the Brahma Kshatra, the Brahman and Kshatriya, they are the rice, khichadi, and mrityuhu asya upasechanam, and the death is the curry. In this manner, the Brahma is referred as the eater. Now what it means? It doesn't mean he is the eater. That means this Brahma, Sattva Guna, Kshatra, Rajoguna, Mrityu, Tamoguna, they are supported by this supreme reality. They come out of me, they stay in me, and they go back to me. So Atta refers to the withdrawal, absorption of the total world. And in this manner, this Paramatma is referred as the eater, Bhokta, and not like the Jivatma is the Bhokta. Further, the next sutra goes, Prakaranacha. Prakaranacha. This is another very important thing which comes in our scriptures for us to understand. Whenever we are studying anything, we have to be very, very clear and cautious that the main theme that is being developed is kept alive in our mind. For example, if we are talking on Bhagavad Gita and we forget about Arjuna and Bhagavan Krishna and get carried away by the examples we have given and then get so much lost in that, and finally, I don't know why did I start this thing. Can you tell me what I am talking about? Now, why this happens? Because the major theme which we have started is forgotten. This is one of the biggest difficulties which most of the speakers have to face and sort out. That when we take up a theme to bring out the proper import of the statements, we have to give some drishtanta, some examples. And in that, when we are giving the examples and drishtanta, we get carried away by them because we think that nobody can give examples like me. And then we become an example before others. Therefore, Prakaranacha, the prakarana, the topic that is being taken should be always respected before interpretation of any mantra. So here also Prakaranacha, by the reference to the context, this is said. What is said in the next mantra in Kathopanishad, it comes Rutam pibanto sukrutasya loke guham pravishto parame parardhe chhaya tapo brahmavido vadanti panchagnayo ye chatrinachi. This is how the prakaran, the topic comes. And therefore, the next sutra, 11th sutra tells us Guham pravishto atmano hi taddarshanat. Guham pravishto atmano hi taddarshanat. Guham, in the heart, pravishto, having entered, atmano, jivatma, paramatma, hi taddarshanat. This is how it is said in the subsequent sutra or the mantra, that what is being spoken of is the Paramatma. Jivatma and Paramatma, they enter these Jivatmas or the heart simultaneously. Meaning what? Paramatma is always present. We have seen in Kathopanishad, if you remember, here Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his commentary mentions that this dual case is used, Rutam Pibantau. Both of them, Rutam Karma Phalam. So both of them are experiencing the karma phala. Now in that, Jivatma is experiencing the karma phala and not the Paramatma. Then why this is said? Because we want to include all the yellow fellows who are come together. In that, white also come. Why? Because the whole group is predominantly yellow. Therefore, others are included although they are not white. In the same manner, the Bhokta is Jivatma. And therefore, Rutam Pibantau, a dual case is used even to include the presence of the Abhokta Paramatma. And in this manner, in other Shruti, in Chandogya, it comes Sa iyam devata aikshata hanta aham imam tisro devata anena jivena atmana anupravishya namarupe vyakaravani. The Paramatma thought, Sa iyam devata aikshata. This Devata thought, Paramatma thought, Hanta, alas, let me also enter along with this Jivatma and other Devatas so that I will be able to help them expansion of the Nama Rupa Jagat. And in this manner, Paramatma is always the main topic, although discussion is about Jivatma. Why we discuss about Jivatma? To know Paramatma. Why we discuss about the Jagat? To know Paramatma. Why we discuss about the controller of this world? To know Paramatma. Therefore, the inquiry about Jiva, inquiry about Jagat, and inquiry about the Ishvara is not to establish or find out what is Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, but to ultimately reach through this inquiry the substratum of everything, that Paramatma as one's own essential nature. And therefore, another logic is given, 12th Sutra, Visheshanacha, the different descriptions of given are given for this Jivatma and Paramatma. It is never mentioned anywhere. Having known the Jivatma, one attains immortality. It is only having known the Paramatma alone, the immortality or Abhayapada is attained. And therefore, this Jivatma, Paramatma, they are separate, and we do the Upasana as the Jivatma of the Paramatma. Now, hereafter, another topic is taken. If Jivatma and Paramatma both are present in the heart, then on what basis you are telling that the Upasana is that of only Paramatma and not Jivatma? This is explained. Now, second thing. If the Paramatma is present only in the heart, okay, present in the heart. But all Upanishads don't agree with this. In some places, the Paramatma is not present in the heart. He is present in the eye. Is he ophthalmologist Paramatma? And therefore, this topic is taken in Chandogya Upanishad. It comes that the Paramatma is available in the right eye. So, in Kathopanishad, Paramatma available in the heart. With great difficulty, you understood Kathopanishad. And he is the heart. By the time you is there is another board you see. Chandogya Upanishad, Paramatma available in the eyes. Then there is a doubt whether it is a hearty Paramatma or in the eye. Now this is the topic taken next. 13th Sutra. Antare Upapattehe. Antare means the one who is present in the eyes. Upapattehe. This Paramatma who is indicated as present in the heart in Kathopanishad. The same Paramatma is indicated to be present in the eyes in the Chandogya Upanishad. That is why I told you right in the beginning. Unless we have studied all the Upanishad, we will never have the problems. Nay, those who have not studied Paramatma Upalabdhi anywhere, how does it matter? But Swami, we don't disagree. आप कहो हम मानते हैं, भक्त है. Now for the Bhakta, Sutra is not required. Bhaktas are called as Dirgha Sutri. Why they are called as Dirgha Sutri? The disciple and the devotee difference is on the Dirgha Sutratva. Because a disciple is the one who is ready to change himself. And the devotee is the one who wants the Guru to change. And therefore, after all the Gurus have changed, then they think of changing. So this is indicated that how this Paramatma is present in the eye. In Chandogya Upanishad, the topic is very beautifully brought out. There the topic in short is like this. There was a Upakosal Brahmachari, and he was staying in the Gurukula of Satyakam Rishi. And he was a very nice person, very sincere student, and doing all the seva, Agni Seva and other ashram seva for 12 years. And even after 12 years, that student was not initiated by the teacher Satyakam. Other students came afterwards, they were given Upadesh, they went, and this fellow continues serving that ashram. So one day, this student also got frustrated. The other fellows have come, got the Brahmopadesh gone, and I am still holding on to the same jadu in my hand. How long will I do this thing? And therefore, one day he decided Satyagraha. And therefore he decided not to take food. So when he decided not to take food, this wife of the Rishi, she told Satyakam Rishi, "Hey, look here, this child is here for 12 years. He has so sincerely served, he is so good. All others you have given Brahmopadesh, they have gone, and he is still here. Why don't you do something?" If wife suggests, how can the husband agree? So he only looked at her. You have to teach me. And went away. He did not give Brahmopadesh to that Upakosal Brahmachari. And after that was over, then what that wife could do, she was keeping quiet. And because of this particular thing, all the Agnis who were served by this Brahmachari, they appeared before him. And they started giving him Upadesh. So the Agnis told him that यावद्वावकम तदेव खम यदेव खम तदेव कम इति प्राणम च. So that which is come is come, that which is come is come, and that which is come is pranam, and that thou art. Understood? So the brahmachari said, as regard prana is concerned, I know, but this come, what is this? That I don't know. And therefore, this is how this definition of kam sukham comes. Kam means sukham, and this kam is kham. Kham is akash. So kam sukham, kham akasham. That means infinite bliss is called as kam sukham, and kham akasham. So when you say kham is infinite bliss, and this infinite bliss is prana, is Parabrahma Paramatma. And that infinite bliss, prana, is our essential nature. This was the upadesh given by the various Agnis. Now when the brahmachari did not understand this upadesh, they said, now the first Garhapatya Agni, he told that the one who is in the sun is the Paramatma to be propitiated. And in this manner, if you do the upasana of the Surya, you will go to the Surya Lok and your all sins will be destroyed. Then the other one, Arha Anvaharya Pachanagni, he said, if you discover presence of Paramatma in the Chandrama, in the moon, and do the upasana, then you will be going to the higher worlds. In this manner, every 5 types of Agnis gave him 5 upadesh. This is only upasana. And after this upasana, upadesh was given, and then all Agnis went. And when the Guru Satyakamji came, he found that this brahmachari is totally different now. So he asked, Saumya, my dear child, what's wrong with you? You are looking so bright, so joyful. Your face is full of Brahma Tej. What happened to you? Then he tells that because of this, I decided to go on fast. Then all the Agnis appeared and they gave me this upadesh, and this is how I was told. That time, the Guru tells, look here, what they have told through upasana is true, but it is not the final abode. Now I will give you the final Brahmopadesh. Therefore, the Guru says, Yaha esha akshani purushaha drishyate, esha atmati. Hovacha cha etad amrutam abhayam etad brahma iti. That Paramatma which is present in the right eye, that is the reality, and not the one somewhere in this loka, that loka. And in this manner, you discover this Paramatma which was indicated to you through upasana as in Chandra, Surya, Agni, Vidyuta, as your own essential self. Therefore, the difference between, be very attentive, the difference between the Upadesha instructions given through Upasana and Brahmopadesha, the difference is in Upasana we propitiate the Paramatma's expression as Upasya and we keep ourselves other than the Paramatma. This is how in Kenopanishad we were told, Tadeva Brahmam Tvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate Yad Vachan Abhyuditam Yena Vaga Abhyudyate. That which cannot be spoken of by the mouth, but that because of which the speech is able to express, that is called as the Brahman, and not the various kinds of mantra alone you are chanting for the propitiation of the reality. So, the difference between the Upadesha instruction given by the Upasana or Bhakti Shastra and through the Vedanta Shastra is this basic difference. Here, the instruction is to discover the reality as your own essential self and not keep the truth away from you, and then you go in time and come back in time. Further, this Parabrahma Paramatma, which was indicated as present in the eyes, that doesn't mean that he is present in the eyes. Then why do you say like that? Because next sutra, Sthanadi Vyapadeshacha, although Paramatma is present everywhere, but we are able to discover him nowhere. The tragedy is not with Paramatma's presence. The tragedy is ours. We are unable to discover the presence of the reality, and therefore sthanadi vyapadeshacha. The truth is indicated to us through some specific points, some specific spots. This is how our mind operates. Now here we'll pause for a moment. See, when we are told that Paramatma is present everywhere and present all the time and present in every situation, these three statements makes the presence or availability of Paramatma is zero. But when we are told Paramatma is present in Kedarnath, then what happens? You travel from south, go to that Gaurikund, from there start walking, and by the time you reach, you are so single pointed, and then you reach before Kedarnath Bhagwan, and the single pointedness reveals the joy of having reached the destination, the God which you have fixed. And therefore the importance of fixation of a particular place for the discovery of the Lord. Therefore you will see all the great masters in their sadhana period, they were moving from one place to another in search of God. The moment they have discovered, they get stabilized in one place. Why? Now that which they were seeing, searching in a particular place is now discovered to be present everywhere. But till then, it is essential for the seekers to hunt the divinity in a particular place, and therefore for the students it is said the Paramatma is present in the heart. So Angushta Matra Purushaha Madhya Atmani Tishtati, or Esha Dakshini Akshe Purushaha, etc. So Sthanadi Vyapadeshacha. This is how in Bhagavad Gita also we have seen, when in the 7th chapter Bhagavan says that Punyo Gandha Prithivyam Ja Tejasvasmi Vibhavaso. In the 9th chapter when Bhagavan said that I am the formless supporting all the forms. This sounds a very beautiful statement but creates no understanding. But when as an initial student we are able to see the presence of the divinity, among the trees Ashwatha I am, among the mountains Himalaya I am, it is easier to grasp. Then difficult than this is that I am the taste in all the liquids, I am the smell in all the gross objects. It becomes more difficult. And still difficult is that the Paramatma is present in the heart of everyone. I can understand in my heart Paramatma is present, but in my neighbor's heart it is only the venom, how it can be. And still difficult becomes that Paramatma is present everywhere. So these are the different stages. Therefore, sthanadi vyapadeshacha, the sthana vishesha, space is indicated only to indicate the Paramatma. After that, the place is rejected. Now, why I is indicated? It is something like this. When we cut onions, that time there is a watering from the eyes. So the influence is only on the structural eye and not the one who is seeing through the eye. Nothing happens to him. When there is cold, because of the cold also we get watering the eyes, but that doesn't affect the Purusha who is experiencing the cold experience, etc., or seeing the various colors and forms. So this is Asparsha Tattva is the Purusha in this manner. Although the Purusha is indicated to be present in the eye, does not mean he is limited only in the eyes. This is the place where the truth is revealed. Now, to indicate this, one more logic is given in the 15th Sutra. Sukha Vishishta Abhidhana Devacha. Now, Tathacha, and so also this Netrantavarti Purushaha, the Purusha which is indicated to be present in the eyes, is indicated to be Ananda Yukta, is ever full of bliss. Now what is Ananda? Ananda is fearless existence is Ananda. Wherever there is fear, understand Jivatma is functioning or expressing. Fearlessness also should not be foolishness. If you remember, in one of the children's camp, one child became fearless in the cartoon. Thank God it was only in the cartoon. So I am fearless, and stood before the truck. The truck crushed him. And then the crushed cartoon tells, I think I should have tried with a car. It was too much of fearlessness. No. So here, the fearlessness, Amrtatva, is the Brahma Swarupa. And this fearlessness is also indicated as Kam Sukham Kam Akasha Swarupa. In this manner, that Paramatma is infinite, fearless bliss, is called as Paramatma. In this manner, this Paramatma alone is indicated and not someone present in the eyes. The further sutra substantiate this thought. श्रुतोपनिषद का गत्यभिधानाच्च उपनिषद का गत्यभिधानाच्च श्रुतोपनिषद का गत्यभिधानात्. In the Upanishad, when this topic is discussed, revealing the truth, then this is Gati Abhidhanat. The one who is listening, he himself is the Paramatma Tattva. And therefore, this Shruti is not talking about some Paramatma who is other than the listener. And that is why it is said that the Paramatma is present in your eyes. That means we are not talking about some Paramatma who is away in Desha Kala Vastu. He is ever present, one's own experience. Therefore, in Prashnopanishad we have seen this particular mantra. Atottarena tapasa brahmacharyena shraddhaya vidyaya atmanam anvishya adityam abhijayante etadvai prananam ayatanam etad amritam abhayam etad parayanam etasman punaravartante iti ittesha nirodha. In the first chapter of Prashnopanishad, there we have seen that how this Paramatma is to be discovered by the process of tapasya, brahmacharya, shraddha, etc. and by the adhyatma vidya. This truth is discovered as one's own essential nature. And how Paramatma alone is indicated through this right eye and no one else. This is indicated in the 17th Sutra. अनवस्थितेः असंभवाच्च नेतरः असंभवाच्च नेतरः अनवस्थितेः. There cannot be anyone else which is indicated through the right eye. Because asambhavat, because it is not possible. Itaraha, someone else. How it is not possible? Now what can be present in the eyes other than Paramatma? When we are looking at a person, the reflection of that person is seen in our eyes. Even the other person can see the reflection of the other person's reflection in our eyes. So, he is never present all the time. The moment the object of reflection disappears, it disappears. Then the second is the mind. When the mind is associated through the eyes, then alone the eyes can comprehend. So the second thing which is present in the eye is the mind. But the mind is also not all the time present. When the mind is interested in some music, then the objects are not seen by the eyes. Third thing, the eyes are not available functioning in the deep sleep. But in all the conditions, there is only one reality which is present, whether somebody is present to reflect or not, whether the mind is associated with the eyes or not, whether it is a deep sleep or the waking state, in and through all the various conditions, the one reality is ever present, and therefore what is indicated as Paramatma in the eye is the Paramatma alone and not anything else. Therefore, anavastitehe asambhavacha na itaraha. The other thing cannot be indicated as referred in this particular context. Now, this Parabrahma is indicated in the Shruti Grantha various places as Adidaivik, Adibhautik, etc. Now, this topic is now taken for discussion in the 18th Sutra onward. अंतर्यामी आदिदैवादिषु तद्धर्म व्यपदेशात् आदिदैवादिषु आधिदैविक आध्यात्मिक and among all the adi bhautik in all the objects antaryami, the one who is the inner controller, tad dharma vyapadeshat, and how by the various dharmas associated with the adhyatmic adi bhautik and the adi daivik. Now here please understand, this I am telling you with reference to our Patanjali Yoga Darshan. This particular topic thought is very, very important to understand the reality. Dharmi is recognized through dharma. Dharma is recognized through lakshana. Lakshana is recognized through avastha. These are the 4 stages. So here this is the topic. The same Paramatma is recognized as subjective when adhyatmika. The same Paramatma is recognized as someone more powerful than I is Adi Daivika. And the same Paramatma is recognized objectively as Adi Bhautika. And therefore, Antaryami Adi Daivadishu. So the same reality is the inner controller of the Adi Bhauti Jagat, the objective world. The same Paramatma is Antaryami, inner controller of the Adhyatmika, the experiencer, and the same Paramatma is the inner controller of the various Adi Daivik forces such as Indra, Varuna, etc. So the 18th Sutra told us, Antaryami Adi Daivadishu Tad Dharma Vyapadeshat. In this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the topic comes like this. The Uddalak Rishi reaches the Yajnavalkya Muni and inquires from him about the Sutratma. Thereafter, he inquires about the Antaryami of this whole world. And thereafter, he also inquires about the various world, these Mrityulok, then Swargalok, etc. And then he says, I want to know who is that one who is controlling everything. And in reply to that, Yajnavalkya Muni tells in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Eshate Atma Antaryami Amritaha Adrishtaha Drishtaha Ashrutaha Shrota Amataha Manta Avidnyataha Vidnyata Na Anyaha Asti Ataha Drashta na anyaha asti, shrota na anyaha asti, manta nanyosti, vidnyata, eshate atma antaryami amritahata anyadartam. He says that your own essential self is the antaryami, the controller of everything. And he is adrishtaha. He is not seen by anybody, but drashta, but he is the seer of everything. Ashrota, he is not ashrutaha, he is not heard by anybody, but he is the hearer of everything. Amataha, he cannot be known or felt by anyone, but he is the one because of which everything is known or felt. Avidnyataha, cannot be recognized, but he is the one who recognizes, and in this manner, he is the very substratum of every Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. And this is how it is your own essential self. In this manner, you have to indicate and recognize that what we are talking about, the Paramatma as our essential self. Now here, 1 or 2 important points which we have to practice in life. Every time our mind is not of the same quality. Many times our mind is confused. Sometimes our mind is agitated. Sometimes our mind is contemplative. Sometimes our mind is very dull-witted. So, for different qualities of the mind, different types of sadhana is indicated. Now, when we are under the influence of tamoguna mudha pravritti, under that condition, we should not do meditation. Because without our knowledge, we will enter sleep. And this very easily happens because in both the cases similarity is very high. So for such people sadhana will be get up in the morning, start jogging for no reason. So that the tamogun will get out and then only we can become contemplative. Sometimes when the mind is very agitated, that time instead of doing meditation or study of the scriptures, that time do some physical work associated with the divinity, such as puja, poti, washing, cleaning, etc. And when the mind is sufficiently cooperating, that time study the scriptures, if not chanting of the Lord's name or chanting the pages together, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, etc. And when the mind has become sufficiently contemplative, then only the study of the scriptures. And after the study of the scriptures is done, then the mind attains extreme subtlety. And that mind alone should be employed in contemplation on the self. Otherwise, what happens? We decide that now I am going to study Upanishad. And the moment you decide, all the Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik and Adhyatmik Vignas, they conduct a meeting. And they say, ये पढ़ाई कर रहा है. And they, all of them come together and starts troubling. And thereafter, we just find out who is the one who can be blamed for our thing. And then we blame that it is the neighbor because of whom I am not able to study. Therefore, let me change my room and go next to the bathroom. And then only I will be very calm and quiet. Therefore, what is required for us to understand? We ourselves first assess the quality of our mind. And according to that quality, the sadhana should be discovered and attributed to it. If this is not understood, this is not done, many seekers suffer because of sadhana. Like once I told you, one Yuva Kendra girl came and told me, Swamiji, before I became a chick, I was all right. Meaning what? Now I am miserable. Why? Because nobody understands BMI. PFT. Therefore, here Antaryami Adi Devadishu Tad Dharma Vyapadeshat. This sutra tells us that the Paramatma has to be discovered as Antaryami. Now another good thought. If Paramatma has to be discovered as Antaryami, what is required for us to experience that I am the controller of my life? What I talk, what I don't talk is decided by me. Many times we talk when it is not required. And then afterwards, I don't know why did I talk. This is other people's problem. Why do you talk? Not only you do not know why you talk. Now why this happens? Only because Antaryami is not invoked. That is why Shamadama Uparati Shraddha Titiksha Samadhan. It is very essential that we lead a life of extreme self-control. So all our faculties must function according to our choice. And then alone we will be reaching the Antaryami that we are. Or else we fall victim to the sense organs, etc. Now, up to here, what Paramatma is indicated directly. Now, from the 19th Sutra onward, how this Parabrahma Paramatma is, the reality indicated through various statements is indicated in the language of negation, Nisheda Vidhi or Nisheda Mukha. How the Jada or the Avyakta Prakriti is not the Parabrahma indicated in the various Upanishadic statement. 19th Sutra. Nacha smarta mata dharma bhilapad. Now we will break it for understanding. It is Nacha smartam atad dharma bhilapad. So Nacha smartam. Smartam means Smriti Grantha. So the Sankhya Smriti Grantha, Sankhya Karika, Sankhya Shastra tells that Pradhana or the Jada Prakriti is the cause of everything. In the 13th chapter also we have seen that Karya Karna Kartrutve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate. So, if the Karya, the gross bodies, and Karana, the instruments, they are created out of Prakriti, naturally, Prakriti is the inner controller of all this. Like, if gold is the cause of the ornaments, then gold is the inner controller of all the ornaments. If you remove the gold from the ornaments, there is no existence of the ornaments. Therefore, everything of the ornaments is controlled by the gold. The gold becomes the inner controller. Now, this is the topic taken here. That even though Sankhya Shastra tells that Prakriti is the inner controller, this is it is not acceptable because Atad Dharma Bhilapat. Because here we have not spoken about the Drashta or Dharma etc. with reference to the Prakriti. Because the Drashta is not Prakriti, Drashta is the Purusha. And we are talking about the Purusha Tattva. And therefore, Antaryami is the Purusha Tattva, Parabrahma, and not the Prakriti. And if the Jada Prakriti is not the Antaryami, inner controller, then maybe this Chetana Jiva can be taken as the inner controller. Let us compromise. You don't agree with the Jada Prakriti as inner controller, and we don't agree Paramatma as the inner controller. So let us come together. Let us give the Jivatma as the inner controller of everything. And therefore, this particular topic is taken and analyzed in the next 28th Sutra. Sharirascha ubhayepi hi bhedena anabhidhiyate. Sharira means Jivatma. Shariraha api na antaryami, he is also not antaryami, ubhayepi. In this Shatapad Brahman, there are two shakhas, two branches. One is called as Madhyandini Shakha, second is called as Kanva Shakha. In both these shakhas, enam, this Jivatma, bhedena adhiyate, is very clearly indicated as someone other than the Jivatma. In this inner controller is not the Jivatma, is indicated in this Shatapad Brahmana. There it comes like this. The original mantra is Yaha Atman Atmani Tishtan Atmanaha Antaraha Yamatmana Veda Yasyatma Shariram Ya Atmanam Antaraha Yamayati Sa Te Atma Antaryami Amritaha. This comes according to the Madhyandini Shakha, that Atma which stays in the heart of everything, and this Atma knows everything, Veda, but he who is not known by anybody, and although he stays in this Atma, he is the controller of this Jivatma and also the gross body, and therefore this Paramatma is totally different from the Jivatma. And so also in the Kanva Shakha, the mantra goes, Yo Vijnane Tishtan. So here he is referring to the Vijnanamaya Kosh. Yo Vijnane Tishtan Vijnanat Antaro Yam Vijnanam Naveda Yasya Vijnanam Shariram Yo Vijnanam Antaraha Yamayati Esha Atma Antaryami Amritaha. This comes in the Dharanya Upanishad, that the one who is staying in the Vijnanamaya Kosh, but the Vijnanamaya Kosh, that Jivatma cannot know this Paramatma, and he who is controlling the Jivatma, the Vijnanamaya Kosh also, he is the reality, he is your essential self, and he is Antaryami, and he is Amritaha. And in this manner, Jivatma cannot be taken as the Antaryami or the inner controller, only the Parabrahma. So what we have taken so far, how the Prakriti cannot be considered as the inner controller, nor the Jivatma is considered as inner controller, but it is only the Paramatma, Parabrahma alone. Further, this Drashtutva, the seerness or the witnesshood, which are the dharma of the Chaitanya, not that of Jada Prakriti. Therefore, the Jada Prakriti cannot be the inner controller. But in Mundaka Upanishad, we come across similar kind of mantra, wherein this is indicated. So this particular mantra is now taken for analysis, that how this mantra is indicating Paramatma and not the Prakriti. 21st Sutra, Adrushyatvadi gunakaha dharmoktehe. Adrushyatvadi gunakaha. The various kinds of attributes indicated to the Paramatma, Adrushya, etc. These are with reference to His omnisciency and omnipresence. In Mundaka Upanishad, this mantra comes. Yattadagdresham agrayam agotram avarnam achakshuhu ashrotram tadapani padam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyam tadbhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Where in Mundaka Upanishad we have seen Dve Vidye Veditavve. Which are the two Vidyas? Parachaiva Paracha. And while telling the Apara Vidya, all the four Vedas and the Shadangas were indicated. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chandam, Jyotishamiti. This is falling under the purview of the Apara Vidya. And Para Jayatat Aksharam Adhigamyate. And what is that Para Vidya? It was indicated through these two mantras. Yattad Adreshyam, that which cannot be seen. Agrahyam, cannot be held. Agotram, does not have any origin. Avarnam, cannot be described. Achakshuhu, cannot be seen. Ashrotram, Tadapani Padam, free from the limitations of Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas. Therefore, Nityam Vibhum Sarvagatam Susukshmam, that which is beyond the limitations of Desha Kala Vastu, Susukshmam, subtler than the subtlest. Avyayam, it is the immutable, and Bhuta Yonim, Paripashyanti Dhiraha. So this appears because of the word Avyayam. It is being referring to the Prakriti. But the next mantra tells no. Yaha Sarvadnyaha Sarvavid, Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha. Therefore, it is not referring to the Prakriti, but is referring to the Purusha Tattva. And therefore, these various gunas which are indicated, they are referring to the Parabrahma and not the Prakriti. Therefore, Prakriti is not the one to be propitiated, but it is the Parabrahma which is indicated. Now, this is substantiated through few more logical approaches in the 22nd Sutra. Visheshana Bheda Vyapadeshabhyam cha netarau. Visheshana Bheda Vyapadeshabhyam cha netarau. Visheshana Bheda Vyapadeshabhyam. So, the difference between the Visheshana of the Prakriti and the Jivatma are separated from the Purusha, and therefore this Paramatma has to be understood in the right perspective. And this is how, when it is said Yattad Adresham Agrayam Agotram, it appears to be referring to Prakriti, but in the next mantra it was said Yaha Sarvadnyaha Sarvavit. So the knowledge aspect is brought, and therefore Prakriti cannot be the topic of discussion in this Mundaka Upanishad. Further, one more mantra comes in Mundaka Upanishad. Samane vrukshe purusho nimagnaha anishaya shochati muyyamanaha jushtam yada pashyati anyamisham asya mahimanam iti vita shokaha. The Samane Vrukshe Purushaha Nimagnaha. On the same tree, the Purusha, the Jivatma, is identified, and Shochati Muhyamanaha, and he suffers. But when the Jivatma discovers his essential self, he is free from all the miseries. And therefore, there is a very clear-cut description of Jivatma and the Paramatma, and the Paramatma is the topic which is taken for contemplation and study, and not anything else. Therefore, neither the Prakriti nor the Jivatma is the topic of discussion in the various Upanishadic statements, but it is the Paramatma. Although discussion begins with the Prakriti, Jiva, Jagat, but ultimately what is to be studied is the Paramatma and not the Jiva, Jagat. This is where many seekers fail. They get so much enchanted and carried away by the topic of Jiva, the topic of Jagat, the topic of Papa, Punya, going to the hell and heaven, and they are very happy wherever they go. Because they are able to go somewhere and come somewhere. That is why these topics have only one purpose. And the purpose is whether you are talking about the Jagat, are you able to trace to the Paramatma? If you are able to do that, then you are a seeker. If you are talking about your tragedies, I am so miserable. The one person says, I am so miserable, others says, shut up. You can't be more miserable than me. So, in this manner, whether we are talking about Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, ultimately we must come back to the Parabrahma, Paramatma Tattva. Then alone we are the seekers, or we are only time passers. Now, this Parabrahma is indicated as the cause of all this world plurality, the Pancha Mahabhutas. This is said in the 23rd Sutra. Rupopanyasaccha. Rupa upanyasat. Rupa upanyasat meaning whenever we are discussing about Paramatma, this Paramatma is indicated as Vishwarup. Such as in Mundaka Upanishad. We are talking about Jagat, but we are interested in Paramatma. And this is how the topic is brought out. Agnir Murdha Chakshashu Chandra Suryau Disha Shrotre Vag Vivrutascha Vedaha Vayu Prano Hrudayam Vishwamasya Padbhyam Pruthivi Hesha Sarva Bhutantaratma. That this Paramatma, he has got Agni Murdha, the Murdha is the Agni Tattva, Chakshashi Chandra Suryau, the eye is Surya Chandra, the various directions are the ear, and the speech is the Vedas, Vayu Pranaha, etc. And therefore, we are not talking about the description, but about the one whose description is given. And in this manner, this Rupa Upanyasaccha, the Nirguna Nirakar Paramatma is referred for our benefit through the various description as the Vishwarup, etc. This is how the Paramatma is indicated as Bhuta Yoni or Jagat Yoni. In Mandukya also we have seen this. Now, how this Paramatma is indicated by a word, and the same word can create sufficient confusion. This is said in the 24th Sutra. Vaishvanaraha sadharana shabda visheshat. Now here, this Paramatma is indicated in the Chandogya Upanishad as Vaishvanara. Now see, Vaishvanara is we have seen in Chandogya, also in the Mandukya Upanishad. Vaishvanara is who? The Paramatma identified with the gross world is called as Vaishvanara. So, in Bhagavad Gita we have seen Vaishvanara, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. Vaishvanara is also called as the Jataragni. So, by this one word Vaishvanara, who is indicated? Parabrahma, Paramatma, or his expressions? So, this is discussed in this sutra. Vaishvanaraha Sadharana Shabda Visheshat. This is referring to the Paramatma because this is how the word is used. Here also, in Chandogya Upanishad, the whole story goes in a very beautiful manner, and there a similar mantra comes. There were 5 great rishis. Prachina Shala, Satyayajna, Indradyumna, Jana and Budila. And the great Grihastha rishis, Brahmavetta, they Vedavetta, they go to discuss about Paramatma. And they were discussing who is our real Atma, what is the nature of Brahman. When they are discussing, they don't conclude because they sit together and discuss. Then they decide, let us go to Uddalak Rishi. He is the knower of the Vaishvanara. So let us go to him and ask. So when they go to Uddalak Rishi sees them and he knows now these people have come, they will ask questions. And I am not interested in talking. So what is to be done? So in the initial stages itself I tell, let us go to that person. He is better than me. And this is how they say that, oh dear great Rishis, actually you have come to inquire from me, but I know nothing. Let us go to Ashwapati king. He is the real knower of Vaishvanara Atma, and he will tell us. So this Vayu and this Uddalak Rishi, they go to Ashwapati. So this Ashwapati is the Rajarshi. This is how there is one reference that Brahma Vidya was essentially in original way with the Rajarshis and not with the Brahmanas. And subsequently it came to the Brahmanas. So when they come to this Ashwapati king, so the Ashwapati says, come, you have come, I am very happy. We will have yajna and I will give you sufficient dakshina, don't worry. Straight away he says that Parjapta Dhanam, I shall give you sufficient dakshina, don't worry, let us do some yajna. So they say, no, we have not come for dakshina this time. Then what for you have come? So we have come to know that we want to know what is this Vaishvanara Atma. So kindly tell us about Vaishvanara Atma. Then the king said, before I ask you, I want to know from you about this Vaishvanara Atma, what you know. Accordingly, I will be able to tell you. So each one of them start telling. So the Upamanyu Putra Prachin Shali says that I have been doing the Upasana of the Atma as Dyulok Atma. Then the second one, Satyajna said, then I do the Upasana of Surya as the Atma. Indradyumna said, I do the Upasana of Vayu. Then the Jana, he said, I do the Upasana of Akash. And Budila, he said, I do the Upasana of the Varuna or the Jala Tattva. In this manner, we are doing the Upasanas of the Panchamahabhuta separately. And having known this, then that Ashwapati king, he tells that you are all doing the Upasana of the Vaishvanara Bhagavan, but in parts. You are not doing complete Upasana. And therefore, he says, Tasya hava etasya atmanaha Vaishvanarasya murdha eva suteja chakshuhu vishwarupaha pranaha pruthak वर्तमात्मा संदेहो बहुलो बस्तिरे वरई पृथ्वीव पादौ उर एव वेदिर लोमानी बर्हि हृदयम गार्हपत्यो मनः अन्वाहार्य पचन आस्य आहवनीयः. The same kind of mantra which we saw earlier, that it is the part that you are taking of the same Vishwanara Paramatma. Dyulok is the head, Surya is the eyes, Prana is the Vayu, and Akasha is the center part, Jala is the waters, Prithvi is the two legs or the feet, Vedi is the chest, and all the hair are the Darbha, Garhyapatya is the Hridaya, and Ahavaniya, Agni is the mind, and the Agni is the Mukha. In this manner, the total Vaishvanara is indicated through this mantra. What you are doing is taking part thereof. And therefore, this Paramatma is indicated as a Vaishvanara, so that we should have a comprehensive vision of the reality. So here we will pause for a few minutes before we go ahead. Normally what happens, when we are talking about the truth, we get lost only in one part. And because of that, our sadhana also remains incomplete. What is required? That our sadhana to be completed on all the fronts, whichever is recognized by us as I. If I recognize myself as body, sadhana at body level is essential. If I recognize myself as Pranamaya Kosh, sadhana at Pranamaya Kosh is necessary. But normally what happens? We directly want to sit for meditation and not taking care of the earlier three koshas. Therefore, unless Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, these three koshas are taken care of, the Vijnanamaya Kosh cannot be inquired into. Like we have seen in our Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Darshan, that unless we have completed the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, then only the last three, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, become certifying. Otherwise, it is in vain. Therefore, this is the Vaishvanara. Now, from here, to indicate this portion with more firmness, another cause is indicated, logic is given. Smaryamanam anumanam syaditi. In the Smriti Grantha, Smaryamanam is Smriti Grantha. So in the Smriti Grantha, like Mahabharata also, this is indicated, and the Vaishvanar is indicated as the Paramatma alone. There the original shloka goes, Yasyagni asya dev murdha kham nabhish charano kshitihi suresh chakshu disha shrotram tasmai lokatmane namaha. So he who has the dev murdha kham nabhi charano kshiti, he to that sarva chakshu, surya chakshu, to that sarva lokatmane, the one who is the sarva lokatma Vaishvanara, to that Paramatma, our salutations. In this manner, by the word, the Vaishvanara, the Paramatma is indicated and not the various Agnis which are indicated. Further, in the next sutra, some more doubts are cleared. Shabdadibhya anta pratisthanacha Dibhya anta pratisthanacha neti chenna tatha drushti upadesha asambhavan purusham api cha enam adhiyate sayoha vai evam agnim vaishvanaram purushavidham purushonta pratishthitam veda. In this manner, he who recognizes this Vaishvanara as the Purusha Tattva, he alone is knowing the truth correctly. Therefore, Shabdadibhya anta pratishthanat. So, this word Vaishvanara may be used by different people for different purposes. For Agni Tattva, Vaishvanara is used. For the Garhyapatya Agni also Vaishvanara is used. For the Jatharagni also Vaishvanara is used. For the Vadavanala, the fire in the ocean, there also Vaishvanara is used. But we have to understand very important thing, that Anta Pratishthanat Tatha Drushti Upadeshat. And what is indicated by this Drushti Upadeshat? We are given a vision. Whenever you see, like in Vibhuti Upadesh, we are given a vision that if you are seeing so many trees, and in that if you see one Ashwatha Vruksha, discover the presence of the Lord. This is the KG1 lesson. Further, we go experience level. Whenever you are having any taste, sour or bitter is not the question. Whenever you are having a taste, understand that is the expression of the Paramatma. Then we go still further, that in every thought, discover the presence of the Paramatma. We go still further, in the absence of the thought, that which is present, that is the reality. In this manner, Drushti Pradana, the vision is given. How from the gross to the subtle we go, and we are given the vision. Therefore, asambhavacha enam purusham api adhiyate. And therefore, the vision is given that in all these places, discover the presence of Purusha Tattva. And this is how the various usage of the word Vaishvanara is meant to develop a proper vision. And Jatharagni, etc. is not mentioned by the word Vaishvanara. And so should be understood with reference to other devata. Ata eva na devata bhutancha. And so also we should not mistake that when Surya is indicated, we are talking about that bulb hanging in the sky pouring the light and heat. We are not talking about that. We are talking about that which is expressing as the sun and throwing the light and the heat is called as the Paramatma. So these various Devata or Panchamahabhutas, they are indicated for discovering the presence of the divinity behind all of them. Now, having given this, and now in the last 4 or 5 sutras, the teacher gives the authority of various acharyas who have said about this. Sakshat api avirodham jaiminihi. Jaimini Rishi Aha, he said, Sakshat api. Even if you take the direct meaning of the word Vaishwanara as Brahma is correct. Avirodham iti, there is nothing wrong. Because it is not necessary that we have to justify why we have used the word Vaishwanara in one place as the Parabrahma Paramatma and in other place as Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamasritaha. Because the word Vaishwanara can be directly used for indicating Paramatma. This is the opinion of the Jaimini Rishi. Then the second one is Ashmaratya Rishi. What he says? Abhivyaktehe iti Ashmaratyaha. Abhivyaktehe Ashmaratya Rishi says that there is a total freedom for this Paramatma to manifest in the form of various ways to bless his devotees, and therefore for anugraha, for blessing the world, this Paramatma has got every freedom and ability to manifest. This is how Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Yo yatha ye yatha mam prapadyante ta tathami bhajami aham. So those who approach me in whatever way, in that way I present myself to them. Therefore, every manifestation is only the manifestation of the Paramatma, and therefore through every manifestation Parabrahma alone is indicated. This is how in Mandukya Upanishad also, when we talk about Vaishwanara, we are not talking about the gross world, but that which is expressing as Vaishwanara through the upadhi of the gross world is Parabrahma Paramatma, that is indicated. Then another Rishi, Badari, he says, Anusmrutehe Badarihi. Anusmrutehe. When we talk or remember this Virata Rupa Darshan, that time also we are talking about the Parabrahma Paramatma. There is nothing wrong in that. This is how the Badari Acharya says. In Bhagavad also we come similar thought. Yadyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti taddadvapuhu pranayase sadanugrahaya. Yadyadhya te urugaya vibhavayanti. By whatever vision, whatever thinking, whatever form we think of you, O Lord, tattadvapu pranayase, that form you take, sad anugrahaya, for the blessing of the good people, you take that form. And in this manner, this Paramatma alone is indicated through every form, every name. And Jaimini Rishi says, Sampattehe iti Jaiminihi tathahi darshayati. Sampattehe. This Parabrahma Paramatma is full of Aishwarya, Vibhuti. And therefore, Jaimini Rishi says, so also is said everywhere. Therefore, everything in this world should become a point which will remind us of Paramatma. So we are coming toward the conclusion of this second pada of the first chapter. What is meant here ultimately is concluded in the 32nd and the last sutra of this second pad. Amananti chainamasmin. Asmin, in this Vedic Siddhanta, enam amananti. Therefore, in the Vedic statements, Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amananti. All the statements of the Vedas or Upanishad, they are necessarily indicating Paramatma and nothing else. If this one statement is fully comprehended, we have understood the second part of the first chapter. Whether we are talking about Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, whether we are talking about their absence, whether we are talking about the positive emotions, or we are talking about their absence, whether we are talking about Kartrutva Bhiman or their absence, Bhoktrutva Bhiman or their absence, everything in the Upanishads or the Vedas is discussed only to bring to our cognition the Paramatma Tattva, nothing else. And that is why this has to be very deeply rooted in our understanding, that what we do, what we do not do, what we eat, what we do not eat, everything, if ultimately takes us to the reality, then we are the spiritual seekers. Otherwise, we get lost only in the relative existence, and there we are taken away from the truth. With this, the second chapter, the second part of the first chapter ends. Now, the next Tritiya Pad we will take in our next class. Here also, this truth is revealed in a very beautiful manner, and in this part there are only 43 sutras, and we'll try to see what is indicated in this. So before we complete, few important points. On Brahma Sutras, the commentary of Bhagwan Shankaracharya is unparalleled. Very beautiful commentary, very deep. Now why I am taking only a bird's eye view for all the 555 sutras is only for achieving one purpose. If that is done, we are successful. If that is not done, Paramatma is successful. So, what is to be achieved? Only one thing. That most of the students of Vedanta, even in our mission, so far never this was dealt with or taught completely. And the result is that there is a kind of fear in the mind. Brahma Sutra, I don't know, we are not taught, so why should we teach others? No. Similarly, if you take Bhagavat, the very two huge volumes, when you look at them, in no time you are one with Paramatma. Isn't it? How to start reading such a huge volume? When we will complete that? For that purpose only we have done the whole Parayan. At least we have that confidence that we could do it under compulsion at least once. So then we can do it. So also, when we will complete this whole Brahma Sutra, we will have some kind of self-confidence. Then it is not impossible. We can study that. And thereafter, when you go, you will have sufficient time. Because you won't have classes as you had in the ashram in our Sandipani from morning till evening. There you can sleep as much as you want and as much study as you want. The freedom is yours. So that time you can take up for study of the Brahma Sutras because you have already studied once. Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari